Hey everybody, welcome to On the Fly Filmmaking, part of Popcorn Talk University. I'm your host, Marielou Mandle, and this is the show where we are going to get behind the scenes tips, tricks, and special secrets of how to make an indie film indier than indie. Make sure you get the shot. That's always my theory. And today we've got two amazing filmmakers with us today. I've got Jillian, Clare, and Colby Mann. Hello. Producers, director, actors, writers, all that jazz, because you know, we're indie, we do it all.
Exactly.
Advent the movie. So before we get started, let's find out where everybody can find you guys on social media.
I'm just at Jillian Clare across the board on everything, and Clare is Clare. There's no I, no Aaron Clare.
No Aaron Clare, that's cute.
And I am only on Instagram at Colby Mann, at Colby_man.
Yes, and we're going to figure out how to get you on all the other social media platforms. I'm telling you,
At least Twitter. We just got to get him on Twitter.
It all roots in Instagram. No? All right. I feel like we're just going to go in, like Jillian and I are like social media people. We're
exactly.
Just, you're not even going to know.
I'll see you on Reddit.
Yes, you're not going to know. There's a Reddit guy. Very nice. So they put together this fabulous little short film called Advent, which I thought was really neat. How would you guys describe the genre of this?
Ooh.
I'd say it's like a suspense thriller. I mean, it's not, jump scares or anything like that, but it definitely has this undertone of suspense and thriller.
A suspense thriller is 100% what it is, with some sci-fi elements, I guess you could add.
Yeah,
definitely.
Totally does. Okay, awesome. So if we're ready in the booth, then let's take a look at the trailer for Advent the movie.
Woo!
Am I supposed to be doing anything? It takes a second to warm up. Just remember, describe to me exactly what you're seeing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes.
That's it.
And I love that it's bite-sized.
Oh, yeah.
15 seconds for Instagram.
That's it.
That's
I noticed
exactly
that.
why.
I noticed that. It was like 15 seconds for Instagram. That's a great trailer, especially with how long is the film?
12 minutes and like 53 seconds or something.
Right.
Like
You
that.
can't have a full-length trailer for something
minute
that's
or 2 minute trailer. There's
like
a whole
the
story.
whole
It's
movie.
like, okay, don't even use the film.
Yes, awesome. Okay, so before we start to talk about the movie, I want to know about you guys as filmmakers. Like, how did you get to this point where you are producing this short film? Like, what's your history in the entertainment industry?
Well, I've been acting since I was 7, and back when I was about 16 years old, I started producing a show called Misbehave with my mom, and that ran for 3 seasons, and it was really fun, and it was really eye-opening, especially, I guess, starting that young and seeing the other side of it. So I did that for a while, and since then I've produced like other little tiny things, but nothing that's like ever seen the light of day. And I've known Colby for
Too long.
a really long time, and he worked on Misbehave with us as well. And we've always wanted to produce stuff together. So one day we were just like, let's do this. Why are we not doing this?
Right.
Let's do it.
Doesn't it always start with the conversation of like, why don't we just do it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was actually I think the initial text was just one day I said, why aren't we doing something?
Exactly.
And it was, okay, well, what do you have? So
Yeah, totally. And I'm sure a lot of viewers out there, people who are watching, On the Fly Filmmaking or anything that's about filmmaking can relate to that it all kind of stems from why don't we just do it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
know,
That's
it's-
exactly what it is.
Especially now that we have access to cameras. Like, everyone
Yeah.
has a camera in their pocket.
It was the idea that we have a friend with an editing computer, we have acting friends, we're in LA.
I own a Canon 7D.
Yeah, we own cameras and we have properties available to us, locations available for free. Why don't we do this? And why do we need to wait for a Kickstarter to raise funds? Is there a way we can go around that? Is there a way we can just do it now on a dime? And so we did.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so then how did the story for Advent come along?
That's all him.
That started, I went to film school and in a class I created a short story about us commercializing heaven after we found it. And it was like, take a vacation to see your relatives. And that story sat on the shelf for a while, and then the discussion we just talked about with Jillian was just like, why aren't we doing something? And it was like, oh, well, I think we could tell a fun story here. And honestly, that was it.
I think we discovered that we were going to make that at the AFI Film Festival when we were there this past November, because we were talking about this feature that we want to make that Colby's writing, and we're like, okay, well, feature's a little hard to do right now. We should start off with a couple shorts. And he was like, well, I have this idea. I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
And we were literally standing in line. We were like, why aren't we doing what they're doing? We can do this.
It definitely started with that film at the festival. Was,
Yeah.
just a character piece, and it was just low budget and just people. And it was, we can do that. We have cameras, we have editing, we have actors. We can do. There's no special effects, nothing needed, and so
Even though we did have a tiny bit of special effects
Yeah.
in this. But yeah, it was just that
awesome.
being, I think when you're at a festival and you just surround yourself with that energy, you just get antsy and you're like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing with our lives?
You know,
Let's do
because
it.
I always believe that the only thing that's between right now and everything that you want is a lot of work.
Yeah.
You just have to do the work.
Exactly.
There's nothing that you can't achieve. You
Right.
just have to work to get there.
Exactly.
So-
And you just have to make that decision, like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, especially in our industry, talk and talk and talk. Well, I have this film I'm going to make. I
Yeah.
know I'm going to do this. And nobody ever does anything.
Yeah.
So it was really cool for us to like actually sit down and say,
Do
okay,
it.
this is it. We're doing this right now.
Right, totally. Okay, so you said you went to film school. You did not. You were
No.
grew up in film school, essentially.
I pretty much grew up in film school.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on a soap opera for a long time when I was a kid, and I got used to, multi-camera, seeing that whole thing and shooting 60 to 70 pages of lines a day. So I got used to that, and then I started doing more indie stuff, so I saw how you could go around things, kind of. And then when I produced Misbehave, I mean, there were so many different twists and turns that we took to be able to save money and make what we want to make still.
Totally. And then going to film school, what did you major in?
Writing and directing.
Writing and directing. And how do you feel like that has served you?
No, the film school I went to was, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all right. It was
All
an
right.
all right experience. Didn't really help you. It was in Florida.
Okay.
And then after there, they don't really help you further. And so I eventually came out to LA, and I forget how we met. We met somehow.
Maria.
Photography.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there it was, hey, we're doing a web show. Do you work right now? And I said, no, I would like to. All right.
Uh-huh,
you're
it would be
hired.
great.
And that was it. That's the day I met her, and that was it. I was working on this show.
That's
and
fantastic.
That's my first job outside of,
Aw,
Oh, look at that.
so adorable.
Yeah, personally as a filmmaker, I didn't go to film school. Everything I've learned has been on set or practical things or
Yeah.
For one of my first years in LA, I just did extra work all the time, and I was just like, so
a
what's that
great way
camera?
to
What's that
learn.
do? What's this? What's that?
Right.
And they're like, you are the nosiest extra ever. And I was like, yeah, but
You
I
need to stop.
I want to learn.
I got in trouble I was an extra, and I was on Hero season 3, and I was too close to the camera crew and stuff, and
Too nosy.
I was asked to go,
Yeah.
and I was not allowed to work.
I
You're
for
outta
some
here.
reason was able to get away with it.
Yeah, lucky. Yeah, no.
Just smile at them.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
Oh, am I not supposed to be
Oops.
here? What's
Yeah.
this light?
What does this do?
Yeah, no, it's really fun. And I like learning on set like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the best way to learn. I mean, you can sit there and take a class on something and try to dream of what it would be like, but if you're just on a set, you realize how crazy everything is and everything that needs to happen. I mean, you see the PAs running, you see everyone doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's much easier to learn by experience.
Absolutely.
Which I think is true with most things.
Right, and then even getting on set with an indie film like this or any indie web series, things like that. That's actually how I met Jillian, was working on Acting Dead.
Yeah.
Which was a wonderful little web series that I learned so much about production from.
Yeah, that was a crazy production, especially because of how many actors there were. I mean, it was just massive.
Yeah,
It was insane. I still can't believe they pulled the whole thing off.
and it's so wonderful.
It's so good.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. So back to Advent. We've got our story. You guys came up with your adapted from a short story into this film, and then you have your concept. Now you've decided to do it. How did you get to the next step? How did we get to production?
Well, he started writing.
Wrote it, yeah, and at the time, and still now, I'm working as a supervisor at a hotel in Beverly Hills, and we really started writing the script around that because we knew we could get that location for free. The hotel is our reign. And so
okay.
we just started saying, well, let's start finding places in the hotel to make sure we have locations. That was done, and then casting.
Casting was pretty simple. Brett is who's the lead in Advent, is one of our really good friends. He's been my childhood best friend since I was like 12 when we
And
did a
what
pilot
a
together.
cutie.
I know,
Yes,
right?
he
He's
is.
cute. I'll keep him.
Yeah, look at this guy. Good
look
looking
at how
guy.
cute he is. And then obviously Brian, I've known for years. We worked together at Universal back
He
in
was
the day.
the Archbishop.
Yes, he
Yes.
plays the Archbishop in our film, and Stephen is somebody that we've known for a really long time. He plays Father Patrick. So we basically called on all of our friends and we're like, can you do this?
And then, believe it or not, the single hardest role to cast was the body that never spoke
Yeah.
at the very end.
Uh-huh.
We could not get anyone.
No
we
one
just
would do
couldn't
it.
cast
And
for
the
that
person
part.
that we wanted like really bad was out of town that
Yeah.
weekend, and it was the only 2 days that we could shoot. And so you're just like, I don't know what to do. I think it literally came down to the wire like 2 days beforehand. I finally just asked our really good friend Jenna to do it, and she was like, okay.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be a man. The ending was supposed to be
Yeah.
a male the entire time, and so
Oh, spoilers.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just you can't even fathom that the no dialogue part is the hardest
And
part
it
to
took
cast.
so long, especially because we wanted like a specific body type, and it was really hard to find that like very thin person with very long hair. Like it was hard to find that perfect person, and then we finally just asked Jenna to do
Yeah,
it,
and it worked. And
it did work great.
Very happy about it. Yeah.
But yeah, from that point, I think. So in November we went to AFI Festival. That's when we decided we were going to do it. In about 2 weeks, he had the script almost completely done.
December 12th, we did the read through.
December 12th, we did the read-through. I took care of all the SAG paperwork, and by December 14th and 15th, we were shooting. So we went from nothing to end of production in a month, which was insane.
Right.
Like, insane.
Because when you decide to kind of like light a fire under something like this,
Yeah.
doesn't it all just kind of happen to come together? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard, but
That was the
pieces
thing.
come together.
But that's the thing. It's like I would go to work at the hotel from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then everyone would start arriving at the hotel at 10 p.m. and I'd stay there till 7 a.m. So it was just a long day. And if you want to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you'll get that second wind. And that's, trust me, that was the greatest thing in the world.
Plus
Yeah.
Red Bull.
Lot of Red Bull.
Plus Red Bull.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to, because we were shooting at the hotel, it was both night shoots. Because we had to do it when there weren't people around.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. So yeah, I've definitely had projects before that were based on the locations I had available. you know?
Absolutely.
So like I had a project, a roommate horror story, and I was like wanted to shoot something that was a little paranormal, and I was like, well, what do I have at my access?
Exactly.
You know? And it was like a house with a bunch of different rooms, and I was like, well,
Which
what
is
can happen
great.
here? I'm like, I don't want like a standard,
Of course.
You know,
you need to stand
haunting.
out. Yeah.
but that's what we had to work with, and I was like, this is it. This is great. You know, so you root from your location out
And I
when
think
you're
that's,
low
like-
budget.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that's the key too. Is like you need to look at what you have available and then say, okay, I can write something that goes with this.
Yes. Yeah, because it's so easy. Like you can write your big budget, whatever pie in the sky kind of story.
I'll write a Star Wars.
You can
We'll
write-
never
Exactly.
make it.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you want to make something right now, if you don't have all of the resources,
Right.
your best bet is to
To go off of what you have in
Yeah.
front of you. Like, I mean, I couldn't even imagine us trying to find like a diner or something to shoot in because that would be impossible.
Right, exactly.
Like you can't do that. So if you just have to look at what you have, ask friends like, would you let me use this?
Yeah.
Would you let me use that?
Favors is your number one tool.
And you'll be
in
surprised.
filmmaking.
and you'll be surprised like how many people actually want to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what we found too. Is like, especially for the Archbishop role, Brian. I honestly didn't think he was gonna want to do it, but I knew that he wanted to do dramatic stuff, and I was like, so Colby and I are doing this short film. We really want you to be the Archbishop. Can you please do it? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
No, he's definitely been helpful for me on other things too, where he's just like
amazing.
you won't think that somebody will want to do it until you ask them, and they're usually so game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you're so hesitant to ask, and then they're like, yeah, let's do it. And you're like, okay, great.
Yeah, because then it goes back to this. Why aren't we just doing it, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
a lot of times people just need a bigger project to participate in. Like they want to participate in something, but maybe they don't have all the resources. They are a resource.
Exactly.
Well,
know?
that's the beauty of filmmaking. It's a collaboration. You get a bunch of people together who has all these different resources, and then you know,
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Well, and my favorite part was I had wanted to find like a really good DP, and so I'd asked a couple friends, and they sent me to someone, and she was wonderful, but we told her, and this is when Colby came up with the term indier than indie, that we don't have money. Like our $200 that we're paying for this is going to the sound guy. Like, we don't have money at all. And she had come location scouting with us at the hotel and sent us a line budget for like $5,000 the next day because she wanted to hire like a gaffer and all this other stuff and rent all this stuff. And we were like, no, I think we'll just use my 7D and make our friend Spencer film it.
It's not that game. Yeah, that's
We're not doing this.
And we're so lucky to have Spencer because Spencer knows his way around cameras and he's just great.
And he was also our editor.
Right. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with, like, of course, if you are a professional and you're working in this and you have a rate, you know,
No, I think
absolutely
you
ask
should
for
have
your
a rate, but at our level right now, it just wasn't possible.
Yeah, but then as the filmmakers, like, you have to understand, like, then this is not the kind of person that I can hire
Exactly.
right now.
Yeah, and you know, we told her, I was like, I'd love to work with you in the future, but because she was amazing, it's just that we could not afford her.
We just didn't have a budget.
And I mean, I wish we could have, but it turned out amazing either way.
Yeah, and then having something like that not derail your entire project. You know, it's
That
like,
was the
great,
thing.
this is just a road bump. We'll find another solution.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Like, you have to just kind of get over those things and be like,
Yeah.
nope, there's another way.
Yeah, there's always another way.
Exactly.
And there's always a way to get the shot. So that's where we'd like to talk about next is some sticky situations that you might have gotten into that while you're on set you have to come up with a creative solution.
Well,
So I know, like, for indie stuff, lighting's sometimes an issue, right?
yeah. So actually, that shot that you saw of Brett a while ago when he was in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. So we didn't have lighting. We had nothing. And Colby, I think, came up with the idea of putting the iPhone flashlight on the dashboard and just putting it on his face.
Brilliant.
That's lit by, that's two in front of the Mustang, and there's two iPhones with their flashlights on the, in front of the driver and passenger seat. And I
Where
just
are they
think-
sitting?
They're sitting like on
Like on top of the wheel. Like
Oh, yeah.
in like right where the dash, the speedometer is.
Fabulous.
And
Yeah.
It just, and
it perfectly
because
lit
of the
him.
spotlight and everything, the street light, it just looks fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's, look, we didn't need to spend any money on that.
No.
It was fantastic.
Already
So
in your
that
pocket.
was-
Yeah, exactly.
that was one situation. I think our biggest and our hardest shot to get was we have a scene of my character and Brett's character in the car driving, and the camera's behind us the
Yes.
entire time, and that was hard because we had Spencer basically sitting.
The
in
ideal
back.
shot was a bit of an looking down on them as we're driving, but because
What was
of
it that
the,
you said, like Grand Theft Auto?
yeah, almost like a video game look to driving a car, and we did it, and it was great. However, it was at nighttime, and the streetlights casted such bad shadows, and we didn't catch it till the next day. So we thought we had it in the bag. Oh, this is great. Next day, playback.
Whoops.
Oh,
Nope, can't do that.
So then we had to schedule more time to then redo a car shot, and
We
I mean,
eventually
did
got it. Yeah,
We did it.
He was on top of the car when we were driving with the sticks and everything, so that you saw the stick shadows when you're driving, and we couldn't keep that.
Yeah.
But he eventually
Shame.
just sat in the back seat
Yep.
and got it. And I think there was literally like one take that there was no shadows at all, and we're like, there it is.
That's the one.
That's it.
We're
Lock.
good. We're easy. Done.
Exactly.
Nice and
That was
easy.
it.
Nice and easy. So lighting's always a situation, and I always have a problem with sound. You know, did you guys run into sound
my
issues?
Gosh, I mean it's my fault because of our location. We use the hotel's parking garage, and sometimes during the night the AC unit clicks on down there, and it just provides the most wonderful ambient hum you've ever
Beautiful
heard.
buzzing.
And it is just, it's a dream. It's an absolute dream.
Yeah.
And so during our garage sequence, we do have some nasty ambient, but again, we had to.
Yeah, and we actually found our sound guy, Gabe Kimson, on Craigslist. And I was just looking for people, and we found him. And
Killed it.
One of the funniest things, though, is that we're sitting there at the hotel getting ready to shoot, and he's
yeah.
not there. And I texted him, and I was like,
Day
hey,
one.
Where are you? He's like, oh, I thought it was tomorrow night. Purely because it's like when you're shooting night shoots, it's 10 p.m. on one night till 4 a.m. the next night, right? So he got confused about the actual dates, and he's like, crap, okay, I can be there in 30 minutes. And we're like, that's okay, we have a static shot to shoot anyways. And
Great.
he showed up.
Yeah, and so that's working with our schedule. So
Exactly.
we knew we had a shot that didn't require sound. So come on, let's go. Everyone's here already. Let's just
Let's
knock
just
out
get
those
that
shots,
done.
and then we wait for him.
That's great. Shift things around.
Exactly.
I think our biggest issue was that we should have paid to have a second lav.
Oh well, yes. Budget.
But budget. And beyond that, I mean, it wasn't horrible sound. I've definitely seen worse.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, no, and for what we had, again, Gabe did a fantastic job.
He did a
and
wonderful
was
job.
absolute team player, and you know, very, very appreciative of him coming out and doing that for us.
Yeah, he was really awesome, and again, it was great because I found him on Craigslist and had never met him before, nothing.
And there was a sequence.
It was awesome.
There was a sequence in a white dining room area, which was a private dining room in the hotel, and outside the door, beyond the wall, is the public restaurant. And then we filmed at nighttime so that no one would be there. However, we didn't anticipate the cleaning crews to come by.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So Brian is delivering his intense Archbishop lines, and all of a sudden it's just, you know, you're just, oh my God,
And
what is
it's one
that?
of those like massive vacuums
Yeah.
that they're like taking around the whole area, and we're like,
Right?
Oh boy.
can you stop for like 5 minutes?
Yeah,
and
it
we'll
was
be
great.
done.
Right, and because we're working
And
with
there's
no
a bunch of
budget,
music.
there's no
Absolutely.
buying out the
Yeah.
place, right? You just
yeah.
have to
No.
wait and work around other people's schedules
Right.
and then ask nicely.
Yeah,
exactly
and there's
what we
also a bunch of music playing in the restaurant, so
Oh,
we had to
yeah.
get that turned off as well, which they did, and it was amazing.
Yeah, they were. I mean,
They were very nice to us.
yeah, they treated us very well,
Yeah.
as they should.
No, I've found that in indie filmmaking and in all kind of industries, you really should be nice. But
Absolutely.
in doing this, being nice to people will get you very far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're just really nice to someone and ask them to do something, they'll probably do it.
Right, and be considerate. Don't like take advantage of people. But
Absolutely, that's what
more
it
often
is.
than not, I've been able to ask people like, "Hey, can we not? You know, like, is
Exactly.
it okay? Can you guys wait like a few minutes?" And they're like, "Oh, you're making a movie? Okay."
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
people
how the
love it.
cleaners were.
Yeah,
they're like,
and
okay.
Yeah, they were great. It was fantastic. I mean, we were just so lucky to have a location like that available and ready for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well then now let's talk about props, you know. So like you had to use a car, right? And
We
I
did.
understand that was just borrowed from somebody else.
yeah.
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 Thanks.
She's sitting in here.
Just sitting right there.
Yeah, and I did think, I was like, that's an interesting choice to have this priest driving around in a red convertible.
Yeah, it's
But
so funny.
it kind of works for me.
And the opening shot,
And it works
too.
for him.
Yeah, the opening shot, too,
character-wise.
is just there's two red cars. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that either
And then-
until we were sitting there in editing. I think,
How
and we
that
were like, oh,
how that actually came about was I drive her car, and we were parking in the garage, and we were looking at it, and we parked in the spot, the scene where you see we have a shot of it of when Jillian has the goggles on. That is in a specific parking spot, that shot, and we had the roof up. So we're sitting there and we're struggling. We're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, you know, will the iPhone lights work?
Lighting-wise.
And then I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Lift off the roof, and I'm like, this is it.
and we're
It
like,
has to be it.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
and so
easy.
from that point on, it became a convertible Mustang for the young priest. And,
Yeah.
you know, it just shows that he's not your typical priest. It's just I love that aspect
Yeah.
to it. Is that he's not your normal.
Right.
know.
And so something that on set became just a creative solution
Exactly.
really added to the
Character.
story. It
Yeah.
really
It
added to that
did.
character.
Well, yeah, and I feel like, you know, since he is searching for heaven and hell and what is all this, I think it's appropriate for him to be the cool priest.
Against the grain.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's a little renegade.
Exactly.
He is.
Yeah,
Look
he
at
is. He really is.
Trouble.
And we definitely established that in the first scene too, with the two characters, how we have a traditional priest, a young priest, and this renegade. So yeah, it was great. It was
was really
so
great.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, so then let's talk about the goggles specifically.
Oh
then.
yeah,
Like, how did that
Those
We had
bad
come
a
about?
boys.
lot of fun with those
A
ones.
lot of R&D on those. We definitely tried a lot of different things, and
It somehow worked out.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you destroy a computer?
yeah, I had an old computer and ripped it apart, and that became the machine.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So just ripped open an old computer and
Put some of the chips in the goggles, and then
microchips
there's
the goggles, and
duct
then
tape, and there's a glow stick inside, which is what gives it that green
right,
tint.
and that on her eye, the thing that sticks out right there, that's actually the receiver of a telephone. We cracked open the telephone
Nice.
and glued it to the front. And it worked out really well, but I mean, at first it was a cardboard box, like, you know, trying to be almost like an Oculus Rift style
Yeah, it's a little
thing.
Google Cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
And so then we just, it just wasn't working. Nothing was working. And then finally we went to a Home Depot, and these carpenter goggles. I was like, oh, hello, that's it.
I think
And
we
so
went through like 4 pairs
we
of
did.
them.
We definitely did. Just a lot of just ripping them apart and figuring it out, and you know, it.
There were times I'd go over there during pre-production. He was just sitting looking at it. I'm like, how am I going to do
it's,
this?
It's funny because some people have seen the goggles, and their main complaint, I guess you could say, is that they look homemade.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
yes, that is why they look. It's just funny to me. You know, we're so used to polished Hollywood films. and It's just
Exactly.
like, no, this guy made this on his own.
Yeah, that was also another one of those things that I felt was an element in indie filmmaking that added to the story.
Yeah.
Because he did just make
Yes.
this
Right,
himself.
this is his machine.
It's his
so
personal
it wouldn't
project.
look perfect.
He spent all his money on his convertible. He
Yeah,
can't get
yeah, exactly.
he can't get expensive goggles.
No.
Come on.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
It's great. And then for the computer itself was just a ripped open computer, and we just tore it to shreds and put new
Yeah.
bits everywhere.
And then it
parts
just
everywhere.
plugged in and it gave you that
yeah.
fan noise and
Yeah, it just worked.
it worked
really
out.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, very happy.
That's really great. So, as far as getting some shots, so like you were talking about following the car, you had a thing that you wanted, but it didn't quite work. Were there other fancier shots that you guys couldn't get?
Couldn't get.
Well, how about ones that you did get, and then any that you like wish you could have figured out?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean,
Being
if
the
we'd
director,
had
let me
more
give you my
time,
list.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we'd had more time, we could have come.
How long
up
we're
with
going to
a
be
lot
here?
more.
An hour? No. I mean, definitely it's funny because we didn't have a steady cam. We, all handheld when we need to be. I really wanted it to be on sticks. And some shots really required us to be handheld. So, you trust your camera to be as steady as possible. And definitely the one I'm very happy with is there's an ending shot where we start very low. We're at ground level. And then we raise all the way up to, how tall is Jenna? 5'9"?
Yeah, 5'7".
And we just go up our
And that's
entire,
actually it right there.
That's it. That's the start
That's
of the
the
shot.
start of it.
And we just go all the way up. We raise all the way up to her head, and it worked out so well. And it got me so nervous because I was like, oh, I just don't want it to shake. Just please don't shake. And
But
yeah, it worked out.
it shook like a tiny bit, but it totally worked with what was happening.
yeah, the unsettling nature of it.
Yeah.
We can play with that.
I think there was one other shot that we wanted, but we didn't get. It was when Brett falls out of the car.
Yeah, actually,
We
we
were
actually
gonna
had
try
to.
to get-
We actually had on the day, because of our time crunch. At 7 a.m., everyone starts coming into the hotel, so we were on a time
We had
limit.
to be out of there.
And there was a scene. There's a certain shot we couldn't get, so it's okay. Let's pause. How are we gonna fix this? And boom, everyone collaboration. My favorite part, and we just all figured out the choreography to it and what could happen and what can we not. What do we not need? What's not necessary? And it's so funny because when you're writing it. And when you're storyboarding it, because the whole thing was storyboarded, I believe in that 100%. And when you get there on the day, it's never going to work out as you expect.
No.
Right.
And so you have to be able to work on the fly, and you have to be able to trust others. And when, like Brett or Jillian, if anyone has an opinion about a scene as to what can make it better, listen to it.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened, and it turned into.
And it turned out great. I mean, we didn't need the shot in the end. But it looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, you seem very happy with it.
Yeah,
You
it's
told.
great.
Is that something you're going to put on your Instagram maybe one day?
Yeah, it's already up there.
Oh,
it's already up
gotcha.
there. Oh, yeah.
All right, so make sure you go look for that.
Maybe my future Twitter.
Your future Twitter,
Ooh.
that once we hack into it.
Yes, exactly.
So another thing that I really loved about this movie was the music choices. So
Yeah.
I always have trouble figuring out music because I'm not a musical person. Like I can figure out a story, but music, I'm like, I don't know this song. It's
Yeah.
fine. I don't know.
I'll tell you right off the bat, it was fresh off of It Follows.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much, and the soundtrack to that film was everything to me. It's so 80s synthetic.
Is that the same director of Drive?
No.
no.
that's-
Oh, I'm thinking of a different movie.
Yeah.
Okay. It Follows. I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's
Oh.
a great horror film.
Okay.
It's
Wonderful.
not your jump scare. It's just a thriller. Really is a suspense. And
But yeah, we had been looking for music, and then I had posted that we were filming Advent on my Jillian Clare official
yeah,
Facebook.
to stop you, this is the power of social media.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
here.
I posted that we were making this, and this guy, who I guess was a fan of me from a film I did called Alien Abduction, commented on one of the photos and was like, if you guys need music, let me know. I'm a composer.
Yep.
And I was
Yes.
like, I'm sorry, what? So I messaged him and I was like, hey, I'd love to hear your stuff. Can you send some stuff over? He sent over some tracks and we listened to it and we were both like, oh man.
Yep.
Oh, he can do something really cool.
Yeah.
So he was amazing. He did it all for free for us, purely because he wanted to get into the composing genre, and he was like, this is such a great opportunity.
Yeah.
He was adorable too, because he told me that he called his mom after we hired him, and he was like, Mom, I get to work with Jillian.
Oh,
Which
that's
is
so
really
great.
cute.
Yeah, we're so great.
But I'm really grateful that we found him, and
we look
he
forward
did
to
all
working
of that.
with him again.
Yes, he did all of that, and all of that is his own stuff that he created, and And we sent over the film to him, and we were like, okay, so we think we want sound here and music here and music here. And he sent all these tracks back. I think he gave us like 20 options.
that was that was definitely
it was amazing.
You know, for free, you know, maybe 1 or 2 tracks for free. I mean, we had more than we needed. And,
way more.
You know, we had a choice, which is so, to say that was
and even
How
unbelievable.
luxurious.
Yeah.
Exactly, a
and
choice.
he was like totally susceptible to like corrections too, because I think there was one song where we were like, well, we love this one, but we also like this one. Can you put them together, or can you like somehow find a way around that? And he totally did it.
Yeah, he was
and it was amazing.
the best. Yeah,
He was
very
great.
grateful, and like you said, the music of it to me it really creates that world. That's what it's a discomfort. It's odd. It's weird.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Because that music kind of reminds me of like 80s movies that are like dark and dirty.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
you're like following like if you were following the prostitute story.
Absolutely.
You know?
Exactly.
But to put it on the priest who's driving a convertible.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
It's just
with his
so
homemade
out there.
goggles. Like
Yep.
it's awesome. Like it all really comes together
It's
beautifully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good sample of it. That's what's in our teaser. That's his song.
Yeah.
His song is in our teaser as well, and just that thumping 80s synthetic.
It's so cool.
It's so
very
cool.
Terminator-y. I love it.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, like exactly that power of social media, putting
It was
out there.
amazing. 'Cause
That-
we didn't know what we were going to do for music. I think we were
Yeah.
just going to like wing it and find, you know, free stuff online. And then he just posted that, and I was like, what? Wait, what? You want to compose for free for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we were at
Thank
Disneyland
you.
when that happened.
I'm pretty sure we were. I was like, do you see this?
Is this for real? Yeah, no, I've working on my vlogs and stuff. I like ran out at all the free music that I would ever want to use, and I
Right.
use them all twice. You know,
And
I'm
the
like
problem
done.
with the problem with the majority of the free music out there is it's recycled. You've heard it before in other people's projects, and
Yeah.
so to get fresh, original sounds
Yeah.
was just great.
And then like there's a guy that I connected with over Instagram that was like, hey, I'd love to send you some music for your vlog, and I was like, it's so
awesome.
great that just people
So awesome.
everywhere. And this is a guy in Russia.
Right.
you
And
know?
Frank was in Chicago. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm going to go
We live in
out
a
there.
great time to make films.
Right.
Like,
really.
It's amazing.
It's great. You can collaborate with people internationally that want to help. So it's not even central to LA.
No.
And also, you don't even have to be in LA to do this. You could be
Exactly.
in any town, anywhere.
Look,
Right.
if you own an iPhone, you can shoot a 4K video right now.
Yeah.
And you can edit it on your phone with iMovie. That is a luxury that, I mean,
Right.
that's unbelievable.
And you can immediately distribute it
Yeah.
to the world.
And there's
Right.
no excuse to not make a film today, in today's
There
age.
really isn't. When I hear people being like, "Oh, I really want to start making short films and stuff," I'm like, "Okay, do it."
Yeah.
Like,
But I guess people are
we
always
spent
afraid
like
of failure.
$500, I think, on Advent in
Yeah.
total.
500 was
My
I think.
mom was awesome and like donated our food for everyone, and she gave us
Chef
snacks.
Susan?
Chef Susan.
oh my gosh, she's an amazing cook.
Really, the only things that we had to pay for were the Archbishop costume, our sound guy.
And I'll tell you, sound is
props.
100% what you need to pay for. If you're going to
Exactly.
make sound makes or breaks a production. You know, you can shoot it off your phone. That's fine. You know, as long as your story
some
is
good
there.
sound.
But we need to be able to hear your story in order to actually get it sold. So
Yeah.
money towards sound is priority.
Which we were totally fine with paying for that. I think that was the one thing that if we need to hire somebody for, that was the one thing that we were both like, okay, as long as
Sound.
it's sound, I'm good.
Right. Yeah. No, and sound is super important. So then let's get into some hypotheticals then.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Fun, right?
Dun, dun,
okay.
dun.
So we're talking about sound. Say you don't have a sound guy, right? You
No.
don't have a sound guy. You guys only had one lav. Now we don't have a lav.
Oh man.
Okay. You've
All
got
right.
the two people in the car, but the camera can't be in the car.
Okay.
How are we getting their sound?
I would do voice memo on my iPhone and put it in the front dash.
Yep.
Yeah. I would do
Completely. Put 2 iPhones in.
that. As many iPhones as
Yeah.
possible. And
Right.
many multiple
Get them in
locations.
different
And then you can
places.
just email it to yourself and there you go. You have an audio file that you can then
Yeah.
manipulate.
Gotcha.
And
And so
It's so simple. It's
accessible.
just literally your cell phone.
I've
God
definitely
bless.
I've recorded voiceovers just using. I didn't have a mic, but I had my headphones that
Yeah.
come with the phone. Plugged it into my computer. Use QuickTime audio recorder,
Yeah,
and you record it. And
Yeah.
there's your voiceover.
Technology
Done.
is amazing.
Yeah, there's always a way.
Absolutely.
really
It
is.
really is. Yeah.
You know, and then I have like a higher end audio like recorder,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounded the same.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I sat in a closet in a
you keep the
hotel to do it. Well,
Right.
it's on eBay.
Bye.
So yes, okay, so that's like a fun scenario. So there's lots of things like that. So if you guys are watching and for future episodes want to throw out some hypotheticals to the guests, then make sure you tweet those at me before our next episode. I really like those kind of things of like,
Yeah,
how
it's
can we
really
figure out a
fun.
situation?
Well, and it's, again, like technology. There's just so many options for everything. I'm sure there's an awesome recorder besides just voice recorder on iPhone that you could download.
Oh yeah, I'm
Like,
sure.
Anything.
And the hypotheticals, what you're doing is so great because that's actually what happens on set 90% of the time. You know, right then and there,
you can't
figure
plan for
this
that.
out. Yeah.
Right. You can plan as much as you want, but something is going to mess up when you're on set. At least two things.
Which is always,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, it's
Real
great.
great.
It happens.
That's the joy of filmmaking. It's an adrenaline rush.
Very, very nice. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Before we wrap up, any message that you would like to send out to filmmakers out there that are wanting to do this but haven't quite got past the hump of, I want to, but what do I do now?
I'll just say don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Just do it. Like,
You know.
don't sit there and think that you can't do it because here we are and we just did it because we just decided to. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. Everyone thinks it's so so hard to do, but if you're gonna shoot an indie film, an indie short film, it's really not that hard. Again, use your resources. Go out there and ask some favors. It's all you need to do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and understand that stories are about people, not about effects.
Right.
So you don't need to make a story that's so visually effects heavy. You can just make a film about people and just tell that great story about people. And
Exactly.
Look, there's 4 of us here. We
Yeah.
can shoot a film right
We
now.
could literally shoot film. Well, I think one of our big inspirations for this even was Tangerine. I mean, that whole movie was
Yeah.
shot on an iPhone,
Brilliant.
but the story was there. So it didn't need to look perfect. The
Yeah.
story was there.
It's
and that's
all about
all
the
you
story.
need.
And then, is there one thing you wish you would have known sooner that everybody should know about filmmaking?
Oh, boy. How long is this going to be?
Just one thing.
I would definitely say you have to work for it.
Yeah.
That's definitely one thing. It's not going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
If you really, I guess the whole going full circle here, if you want it, make it.
Right.
That's it. And, don't be afraid of failure. Who cares?
And
Everyone,
And again, you can plan as much as you want, but it will be stressful on set and things will mess up. So you can't be hard on yourself and get home from filming and be like, this didn't go how I wanted to go, or this didn't happen, and all that stuff. Like, it's going to happen. That's just the beauty of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like, things mess up all the time.
Wonderful. That's really great advice. And I think that's good for not just filmmaking, but tons of other industries as well.
Yes.
You can plan, but
It's not always going to work out exactly how you want it to.
but you just got to keep going.
95%
You just got to
of the
do the
time it
work.
won't.
don't stop.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jillian and Colby. Once again, tell them where people can find you on social media.
You can find me at Instagram at Colby_man.
And I'm just at Jillian Clare across the board on everything.
Yes, and make sure you follow the movie at,
Yeah.
what is it? At Advent the Movie.
Advent the Movie on
Currently
Twitter.
on the film festival circuit. So hopefully at some point you guys will be able to catch it if you're out there in the film festival world. You can follow them on social media. You can follow me at Marielou Mandle on all social media. This is On the Fly Filmmaking. Thanks for joining us.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.